Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. Now, my predictions for this week were It being number 1, number 2 was Home Again, number 3, The Hitman's Bodyguard, number 4, Annabelle Creation, and number 5, Wind River, and I got all 5 of my predictions right. After not predicting last week because it just seemed really boring, I actually got all 5 right. Now, this isn't a huge thing since it was a little obvious, but at least I got all 5 right, and I'm just going to assume that there's a ton of people who also got it right, so let's just go with the montage of shoutouts right now. See you in just a second. Alright, let's go on with what actually happened at the top 10 box office. Number 1 was It. Now, this movie I already kind of expected would do well since it became one of the number 1 most watched movie trailers on YouTube, but this weekend it actually broke several records, like being number 1 for the fall season, number 1 highest opening weekend for a September movie, for a horror movie, and it's the second highest opening weekend for an R-rated film. That is amazing, and this money is $117 million this weekend, only on a $35 million budget, and at first I just thought it just tripled its budget, like domestically. That's amazing, and if you look at the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $179 million, so it even did more than quadruple its budget already in its first opening weekend. That is actually amazing. Who would have thought that this movie would have actually done as well as it did? Now, I think everyone would have been able to tell that it was going to do good because a lot of people were looking forward to this movie, but this good, breaking all of these records too, that is actually amazing for this film, and I'm glad this movie is doing that because it is a very good movie. I wouldn't say it's a perfect movie, but still, it's still an awesome movie that a ton of people should be going out to see, and a ton of people are, so that's really great for this film. Number 2 is Home Again. As I expected, since it is a new release, more people went out to see it, but it actually didn't make a whole lot of money. It only made $9 million this weekend, and this is on a budget of $15 million, so it needs to get to 30 to be able to double that. Maybe it will be able to get close to that domestically. Maybe a worldwide release will bump that up a little bit, but this is kind of a little bit expected that it would take competition away from Home Again, but I'm surprised that it actually made this low since it seemed like this was going to appeal to a lot of people who kind of like this kind of rom-com kind of movie that they were kind of promoting. Maybe the Rotten Tomatoes score steered them clear of it. Maybe it was it that people just wanted to see more. I don't know, but the point is Home Again just did not make as much as maybe I originally anticipated, but it's not a horrible opening for the kind of budget and the kind of movie that it is. Number 3 is The Hitman's Bodyguard, only making $4.8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $64 million. It was able to double its $30 million budget, getting $4 million over that. That's very good for this film. I thought it was a very fun time, and I'm actually glad that more people went out to see it. At first, it was just looking like one of those, late August action movies that weren't going to do as well, but because of, the kind of drought we had for a while, it actually had a chance to make more money, and it actually was able to double its budget, which is pretty good for this movie. That was just a fun time and nothing more. I'm excited to see more films other than Hitman's Bodyguard be on here, though. And number 4 was Annabelle Creation, similar to The Hitman's Bodyguard. It might not have made as much money as it did if it weren't for the box office drought that we kind of had, so good on you, Annabelle. It made $4 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $96 million, and I believe that this just outgrossed the first Annabelle film, which is good because that movie's trash and this movie's much better, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $271 million. I don't know if it'll be able to get to $300 million worldwide. I'm not sure where else it needs to be released if it'll make that much money, but I think domestically it definitely will have a chance to get to $100 million before it leaves. Number 5 is Wind River, which actually made $3 million this weekend and added to a domestic total of $25 million, which is the doubling point of the $11 million budget, made $3 million more than that. That's very good for this film. I still haven't seen it yet. I really want to because it looks very good, but seeing this movie actually double its budget is very good. I didn't want it to be one of those lower released films that got a little bit close to doubling the budget but wasn't because it only got released in small places, because I'm a big fan of the writer who has also directed this movie. So whenever I do see it, I think it will be very good, but I'm just glad that right now it was able to make the money that it did. Number 6 is Leap, the worldwide success domestically not so much, but who cares? It made $2.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $15 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $98 million. It only needs $2 million more to be able to get to $100 million worldwide, and I think where it is right now, I think it will be able to do that, like making 2.5 this weekend. I think over the week and also next weekend, I think it'll be able to get to 100 million worldwide. This is a movie that I might not be seeing at all. I don't know if this is the kind of movie that I'm gonna be seeing that's on my radar. Maybe I will, but I have nothing more to add about this movie. Number 7, the fifth time in a row, fifth time, number 7, Spider-Man Homecoming. It will not leave. This movie will not leave the number 7 spot. That is astounding to me. It's been 5 weeks and it hasn't even budged, not even a bit. It made $2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $327 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $823 million. Now, that is very good, but I just want to reiterate, I thought for sure that Spider-Man Homecoming would have been gone like a couple weeks ago, but this movie has stayed at the number 7 spot for 5 weeks in a row. It still needs to drop to number 8 and to number 9. It's crazy that this movie actually had that kind of staying power. I didn't expect it to have, but it did, so good job, Spider-Man. Number 8 is Dunkirk, making $1.9 million, adding to a domestic total of $183 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $476 million. Now, it's probably not going to get to a $500 million before it leaves the top 10, which is kind of a bummer, but this movie is still doing extremely well for a movie that I didn't think would do as well as it's doing, like maybe 300 million worldwide, because it is, you know, Christopher Nolan doing a biopic of the events at Dunkirk, but I didn't think it would be like almost 500 million worldwide kind of thing. I especially didn't think it would be as popular here domestically, but it's almost at 200 million domestically. That is really great, but of course this is a Nolan film, and he has a very powerful name right now, so it kind of makes sense, and also the critical praise that this movie has gotten is amazing, so that all really adds up. Number 9 is Logan Lucky, about to leave the top 10. I wish this movie made a little bit more money because I really enjoyed it. Not a perfect movie, but I think it was a fun time. Made $1.8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $25 million. And on the worldwide chart, it actually was able to boost it up to $31 million. Now, is this the doubling point of its $29 million budget? No. It wasn't able to get to $58 million. I doubt it'll be able to get released in other places worldwide where it'll be able to boost that up, but whatever. I still had a fun time with it. At least it got the $29 million part of that budget back, just not the whole doubled 58. Sorry, Steven Soderbergh. And now number 10, the last time that I will be able to ever talk about this Citizen Kane of a film, and that is the Emoji Movie. Let's have a moment of silence really briefly for this amazing motion picture. Okay, it made $1 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $82 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $170 million. Sony, please make a sequel, because this is my favorite film ever made. I would love to see your sequel to this. But now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. I'm going to predict that number 1 will be It once again, because obviously with the opening it's had, it's not really going to move. Then I'm going to say number 2 is Mother. I think this movie, especially considering the other movies, it doesn't really have much competition. But I'm also going to think, since it is a horror movie and it has an interesting marketing campaign, plus Darren Aronofsky's a kind of important name, I think that will be able to get it to number 2. Then I'm going to say number 3 will be American Assassin, number 4, Home Again, and number 5, The Hitman's Bodyguard. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.